confirmed.
Greetings, Commanders, and welcome to Frameshift Live number 28, the fortnightly Elite Dangerous live stream where we share everything Elite in the community and the game. I'm one of your hosts, Bruce, and I'm joined today by the lovely Sally.
That's
welcome.
Me. Hello.
It's an absolute pleasure to have you with
nice
me. We haven't done a duo stream for ages and ages.
No, that's right. It's been Arthur. You had Arthur, then I had Arthur. Now we have each other.
Now we have each other.
Good.
I'm very excited for this show.
I am kind of chilling today, though.
Kind of chilling.
Yeah.
An easy vibe for this one.
I'm doing a one take told me where I sort of walk in the room and I'm like, what we got today then, Bruce?
Right. Right.
But no, we got a good stream.
We do. We've got a fair bit of news and community bits to go through.
Yes.
And then we're going to be bringing on two special guests from the audio team who will be meeting about halfway through the show to tell us more about audio design and the music behind the game. So I'm very excited for that conversation.
We know you love it. We love it.
Audio is a big one. It's one we've been meaning to do for a long time. And we've had a lot of requests. So, yeah, very excited to share that with you. Shall we say hello to some people? I noticed we have a lot of you over there in the chat. So, who do we have, Sally?
We've got Commander Orange Phoenix. Oh, no. Strong start. Kevin. I saw Kevin, but you've got more than Kevin. Let me slow it down. Hold on. Let me do this professional now. Darwin_ED. Darfin, not Darren.
Not Darren.
Is that like budget Darren?
Darfin.
I'm not saying you're budget though, sorry. Sodra 07, Graveyard Seawolf 07, Zat Zelith guy. Bonjour.
Bonjour. We also have Alec Turner, Heather G, Edgy Space Bear, Decisive Dolphin.
Say my name.
Sabdora, say my name. Nathan Kerbonaut, sorry for butchering that one. Metal Maro, Sparrow, hello, hello. 07, one and all. Too many 07s to count, so very glad to have you all here with us on today's show.
Aww. Nice.
Shall we break down the Twitch drops that are available for watching today?
Oh, you can.
I can?
Yeah, you can.
Well, I always get the purple ones wrong, and they've changed since I've last done them, so I haven't really got a hope this time.
Right, jump in. Go on.
Okay, so my understanding is that in my absence, these have been condensed a bit.
Yes, that's
to make them more easily available. And for anyone who isn't aware, so I'll start from the top. Twitch drops are cosmetics that you can earn simply by watching our streams. Like I say, they are running every fortnight, usually for a couple hours or so, just to give you an idea of how much time you have to earn these. It's about 4 hours a month. So for the purple Twitch drop pack, it's best to think of these as an intro pack, a welcome pack for anyone who is new to the stream. They're always available, but they do reset every month, which means if you're halfway through earning these when that month ticks over, you will have to start again. But as I just mentioned, they've been condensed so that after 45 minutes of viewing time, you will have picked all of these up, and they're always on. So very easy to get hold of. And I'll just run through those now. So after 15 minutes, you can pick up the Ancestral Tattoo Pack and the Purple Flight Suit. After 20 minutes, you get the Explorer Nameplate Pack and the Purple SRV and Fighter colors. After half an hour, you get the Passenger Nameplate Pack and the Purple Weapon and Engine colors. And then at 45 minutes, you get the Wings Nameplate Pack and the Vibrant Purple Paint Jobs. So like I say, for a total of 45 minutes, you can get all of that simply by watching the show.
I enjoyed that bit where I looked at you, you looked away, you looked at me, I looked away.
We're just
I've never had that before. That was quite a moment, and I had to say it out loud. I was like, which way
playing a little mini game.
What's going on there? Good. And that's not all in terms of Twitch drops.
That's true. We also have the seasonal drops, which we rotate every season, believe it or not. So we're currently, we would be in the spring season, but for those of you who have followed the show for a longer time, you'll know that we had 4 sets last year. Spring, summer, winter, and autumn, of course. Not in that order. I don't know why I swapped the last 2 around. But we're currently working on the next rotation of these, and when we have added them to the game in the next update, actually, which we're going to talk more about in a bit, you'll be seeing new versions of these. However, whilst we've quote-unquote run out or completed the various paint jobs from the last run, there were some that fell through the cracks is a bad way to put it. We didn't get a chance to distribute, basically. So we dived back into the inventory, and we found some exclusive ones that we haven't given away previously, and we're going to make them re-available just to cover that gap until the next update, and we can add some more in. So that means today, just by watching the show for 15 minutes, checking with producer Adam, yes, okay, you'll be able to get your hands on each of these.
This little beauty.
These are from the Somerset, Sally.
This is it.
Sorry, they're not from Somerset as in the place. They're from the set that we did for summer.
These are from Somerset, Sally.
These paint jobs are from Somerset.
Oh dear, oh dear. And this one, oh hold on, go back Adam. I want to show off the, there we go, it's the Anaconda Summer Night drape for this one, which is a lovely purple and pink. Little bit spray paint. I feel like I get spray paint vibes.
I feel that.
It's nice. And then we have actually the lovely Type 9 as well. Loving this stream shot. Wow. Yeah, so we got the purple and the pink vibes. I think I know a couple of people who are actually really going to enjoy these. One may rhyme with snike it. I can't think of a word that rhymes with. Oh, darn it! I picked. Anyway.
So sorry, I couldn't help you out there. Sorry.
No, but yeah. So they're the paint jobs that are on offer today.
Yes, and to earn those, make sure you've connected your Twitch and Frontier accounts at twitch.frontierstore.net/elite. I think. You have to double check me on that, and I'm sure the mods will drop all of the correct, actually I can see it there, thank you very much Heather, we'll drop the correct links in there, and like I say, you have to connect your Frontier and Twitch accounts just to make sure you're able to earn those drops, and you can do so by watching any of these shows on either the Frontier or Elite Dangerous channels.
Yeah. Good, so that's Twitch drops. Oh, the other thing to note as well, we after the launch of the latest Elite Partner Programme, that's the one, I blanked out for a minute there. Our partners had some lovely Twitch drops to give away. Those have ended, they ended last week. Don't panic, they're not broken or anything, but they are obviously on a time limited thing. They too will be refreshed soon, so bear with us on that one, and we'll have updates on whole new Partner Programme drops coming your way.
Absolutely.
As and when we have it.
And on that note, a big congratulations to everyone who did make it into the partner program. Welcome. We're so glad to have you. And if you didn't make it this time, do keep at it. We're always looking to increase the size of that program. It's just a case of taking on a number that we can handle and make sure we're catering to everyone's needs and helping them out as much as possible. But do continue to apply. We are looking forward to you joining us.
Also, I need to give a personal shout. One of our partners has a birthday today.
Ooh.
Commander Dirk Hatch, yes. Happy birthday. For a minute I thought I love Dirk. Dirk is on everywhere, and I'm actually a big fan. And it's your birthday, and you have a mega sick birthday.
Excellent. Just on a final note on those paint jobs, so yes, those will be coming back for our Twitch drops on this show and all the influencers when the new seasonal ones come in Update 15, and we're very excited for them. We have had a sneak peek at what the upcoming sets look like, and I have to say,
yes,
I'm very keen on these ones.
Yes, I am too. Yeah.
It's
a really good idea to have. I just like how they're seasonal. I think it's cute.
It is cute.
It's
I
good.
agree.
Yeah, no, there's loads of cool things to look forward to in that regard, so you can show off all your. I love it, seeing commanders going out in all their
swag.
It's
absolutely. Speaking of the seasons, there's an upcoming sale, isn't there, Sally?
Oh, this one is, I've just lost track on my notes, beg pardon. We are in the spring sale. We're in the thick of it. Spring sale kicked off last week and it ends tomorrow. So get your livery. It's we've got 30% off ship kits, cockpit customizations, Covas, gear sets, weapon skins, fleet carrier skins, gosh, drive colours, holo markers, 15% off those actually. So get them while they're pretty much coming up to being not so fresh, because yeah, the sale ends tomorrow at midday. So
All
grab
right,
'em.
last call,
Grab
last
'em.
orders.
Last call. Last. Speaking of shops, oh my goodness. I need to get these off my lap. Adam, bring us back to full screen. We got merch. We got more merch, which were actually Adam delivered to us hot off the, not the printer, the embroidery machine.
Hot off the sewing machine.
Hot off the sewing machine just before this stream. You've seen these already in the store, I believe. But we got, last time I was holding up some rather giant, what are they called, hoodies. We got hats now.
We've got hats.
Do you want to hold that hat? We got this we got this Harmer rum mug. Hand stitched by Adam.
I don't know why I'm showing it to like an audience. I need to point it at the camera.
Multi-talented, aren't you, Adam? Did you make these? You did make these. I'll leave that one till last.
Okay.
This one's mine. I'm not wearing it though at the minute, but this one's mine. I've claimed it.
These ones are super smart. I like that, especially this colour you've got, Sally.
It's
very
beautiful,
cool.
isn't it? Maroon. This one is Explorer, as you can see. That's the back design. This is the front.
There we go.
Lovely little logo on there. Lovely little logo.
So these are available now, are they, Sally, on our merch store?
Yes. Yes, they are. Lovely quality as well.
Excellent.
What are they like on the inside? Turning very mumsy now. Yeah, they're nice. Nice and soft. We got this one. I've seen a few commanders already with this, I think. Triple Elite.
There we go. I'll help you. Hold. There we go. Triple
To
Elite.
be fair, do you know what? I was going to maybe get us into trouble then, but these should be free if you get Triple Elite. I'm the only one that said that. That's not official. That's not going to happen. But for all the effort that you go to, and can I embarrass you?
Yeah, you can. You can.
I chose this one for Bruce. He's wearing it. I feel
Shall I get
honoured
up
and
to show it
privileged.
off?
Please.
All right. So very similar to the maroon one that Sally has just shown off. I'm wearing this very snazzy, that I've got to thank Sally for, this very snazzy crew neck jumper, which has the logo as well. And you've also given me the combat version, I believe. Is that right?
Absolutely, because he shoots everyone in the back.
There we go.
Right? Right?
I'll
means
do the full spin.
something. I put a lot of effort into
So there we
that
go.
and how that thought. So, look, see?
There we
Everyone
go.
knows. Is that not perfect for Bruce? Absolutely perfect. So, can I give those to you?
There we go. Thank you very much, Sally.
Thank you.
All right. And we may see just a
that's
couple more bits of swag when we bring our guests on as well. Just a light touch.
I like touch. Good.
Excellent. Shall we hop into some game news?
Yeah. See. Oh no. See. Yeah. I was so used to that jingle, I was about to sing it instead of.
Well, you see, we used to have to sing it, Sally, until we got the professionals to make and produce
Yeah.
that stinger for
For
the
a minute,
show.
I lost myself, and I was like, "Do we even have that jingle, or this is something that we actually do?"
Oh no, it's back to a cappella.
Oh God. Okay. Do you want to kick this off, Bruce, or?
Sure.
I don't mind.
So, well, I'm looking at the notes here. Do we? Don't we?
Do you know what? I think we should start off with the biggest thing, really, which is the message that went out.
Nary an hour ago.
Yeah, and you popped that out, didn't you, Bruce?
I did,
Some
yes.
notes.
So about 3:30 today, an hour or so ago, about 50 minutes, we put out a post, and Adam won't have an image of this because it was so fresh. So we'll just talk about it. We put out a post to talk a bit about Update 15 and other plans that we've got in the works for this year. So I suppose the first bit of news is that Update 15 is now going to be releasing in May, just to give us that little bit of extra time to make sure it's nice and polished and to your expectations. We'll give an exact date closer to the time. So that's when you can expect the next big update, which will contain all sorts of great stuff, including the next major stage of the narrative in Thargoid War, as well as those wonderful seasonal paint jobs that we talked about.
Yeah.
But that's just a little side thing. There's so
plethora
much
of-
cool
of
stuff
things
going
to come.
into
Yeah.
the update.
Yeah. But yeah, obviously we did state previously that it was coming end of April. However, yes, we are targeting May, but for good reason. always for good reason. Yeah, that's great. So I think Heather has already shared the link, but obviously there's quite a lot to digest in there. We won't go into great detail here on the stream because you can just hop right in there. You can also, obviously it's open for discussion as well, which we are monitoring and we'll continue to monitor, across the days forthcoming. And any further updates, or as usual in Discovery Scanner, we're there to provide reassurance that the plan is still ongoing, but as you know, they can change. But we'll always let them know. As soon as we know, you'll always know. So,
do we want to touch on the other points very lightly in the same announcement?
Yeah, sure. If you want to go ahead,
Yeah, I mean, we can just touch on them very quickly. So, the next one is the feature rework that we announced towards the end of last year. We're going to take a bit more time to develop it. Again, it's a similar situation as with Update 15, but obviously on a grander scale, actually. We want to make sure we're getting it right. We want to put as much effort into it as it deserves and as you deserve. You'll find out much more about the rework. It's still being planned. It's just a question of making sure we get it right and taking the time to do so. You'll find out more about this towards the end of this year. We also mentioned player-made factions, that we're closing applications for these. Reason being, we have content in the Thargoid War and content like that rework we mentioned where we're investigating ways to make sure you can express your will, I think is the phrase we used in the messaging, over the bubble. That's always been important to us. And to make sure that everything gels together, this is just a step that we're taking. We'll make sure that any existing applications are still processed as normal. We just won't be accepting new ones for the time being. Something we are doing is bringing back the console profile transfer portal next month.
Yes, we thought we have a window for you. So thank you for your patience on that one, because I know it means a lot to many out there that we get that back up and running. So
yeah, very very pleased about this one. When we closed it temporarily, I think we said at the time that just the nature of the changes that were taking place meant that it would have to come back in a reduced form with maybe slightly fewer things being moved across. But actually, it was quite a nice surprise for us when we looked into it. Actually, there's very little, if any, difference. It's basically coming back in full force. Yep. So you're not going to be missing out much. If you didn't get on the boat before to transfer your profile from console, there's basically going to be no difference, actually. So that's great.
And anything that we need to share with you to guide you through it, or just, you'll have it. And we'll be there to get you through, because if you want to get you...
Well, I've been a bit sneaky, actually, and I've preemptively uploaded the profile portal post to explain everything that will be in there, just with a note to say, it's not open yet, but here's the information, so do check that out if you're interested. Or if you have friends who are still on console, but interested in moving to the live version of the game, let them know that this is coming back.
Cool.
And then the last one, and this one I'll touch on very lightly because I would encourage you to read the full article to find out the details, but it's worth knowing that the live version of the game is going to become the default download of Elite, so that any new players coming in, their first experience or the initial place they're guided towards is the version of the game that we consider the main version, that's getting new updates, rather than Legacy, which obviously doesn't receive new updates and is for a more specific audience. Legacy will still be available, of course, so for anyone who wants to, they've tried the main game, they say, actually I want to play this version, that's totally still an option. It's just a question of that new user flow being as good as it could possibly be.
Yeah. We've had a few questions about, are there any new ships? Anything will be as informative as we can with the information that we can allow. There's nothing to report on new ships at the moment, but if we have it, we will absolutely be there. So that'll be, but at the moment, there's many people asking about new ships, and we know you're very, very passionate about new ships, so.
It's something we get asked a lot, and like you say, Sally, whenever we have news that's ready to share, we're always very eager to do so and tell you about it and enjoy that excitement with you. If a new ship ends up in the works, we'll be telling you before you know it.
You'll probably hear us.
Yeah.
And yeah, there's a lot of people saying, end of the year, major rework, if you want to know now. I mean, we can understand definitely how, you've another thing you're extremely passionate about since we mentioned it. As soon as we have information, I know it's a little bit more of a wait, but it's for the best. And, best intentions. We're not hiding anything. We'll be right with you as soon as we have that information. If we have it sooner, we'll get it to you. If not, well, we're going to get it to you.
Absolutely.
Yes. What else do we have? When a caravan's been implemented? Fleet carriers, but a caravan.
It's a very expensive caravan, a very fancy one.
Yeah, it is. It is. Quite like the idea of little space caravans.
Where would you go in a space caravan trip?
All I can see at the minute is like a little Cobra with one of those little 70s caravans towed behind it. Not driving it. Do you know what I mean? Yeah.
You'd want to make sure it was airtight, for sure. I can imagine one of those just crumpling in space.
That'd be so good. Just carrying it around.
Someone make the cartoon or the drawing or whatever it is of Sally in a little pink wafer towing a caravan.
Pull in my little fold down bed in there. Lovely, that'd be. Anyway, I digress. Let's get back to the show. Notes. Where are we going now? We had the Thargoid War balancing changes last Thursday.
We did, yes. So just a couple of light touches to make adjustments to the Thargoid War. What did we change, Sally?
We did some of... Now, hold on. Where were we now? What did we do? We've done a few now, haven't we? Let's have a look. Because the last ones, there were 2 of them. And they were... Bear with me. Here they are. You can tell that we handle quite a lot of stuff, can't you? This is Thursday, and it feels like 18 months ago. I'm not going to lie to you. Previously unpopulated systems that are now under Thargoid control or alert states will be easier to push back. And Thargoids will deprioritise expanding into unpopulated systems. We had some really good feedback from those, to be fair. There were 2... They're not little tweets, but when you have some update notes that just have sort of two notes in there, they seemed valuable ones.
Sure.
So again, all of that kind of thing is off the back of your feedback and your thoughts and again your passion for how you're playing the game and how you want to shape Elite Dangerous. And we're grateful for that because that does get fed back.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And the Thargoid War has been an interesting one in terms of the dynamic between yourselves and us. So we want to make sure your feedback is, well, firstly it's heard, all of it is being passed along and listened to. And the bit that's new and requires some nuance is the level to which we respond to those changes. Yeah. Because we hear people saying, look, obviously we've got to balance this thing and make sure it feels like the push and pull between the Thargoids and yourselves is appropriate. But we don't want to be too heavy-handed either. We don't want anyone feeling like we've got our thumb on the scales or anything like that. Yeah. And for those of you who haven't seen it, the discussions we've had in the past with Darren about how the Thargoids are autonomous, that's still very much the case. It is very much a you versus them situation, and that's a very exciting thing. So yeah, it requires a little bit of tinkering here and there to make sure it's right, but we hope that you find we're getting that balance correct. Yep,
nice. Should we go on to, let's go on to Galnet, shall we? The week in Galnet.
Yeah, sure thing.
Because it has been quite a busy one, been back and forth. Starting off with Ammonia World surveys, and then into the very, very lovely, exciting plotline that, don't know elephant in the room, but D2's been back on the...
A lot is going on with D2.
Back in the spotlight, and I've absolutely loved seeing everybody's, like, the tinfoil hats come out.
I'm so excited to see where this goes. And
you've all been classic commanders with that one. It's like, right, where's my magnifying glass? Really getting into the spirit of that.
The theorising is always fascinating to see as well.
Yeah.
Sometimes people get close and they maybe pull on the sort of the right threads. Other people just go way off the map.
Yeah, it's true. And I particularly like some people are like, oh no, there's a dead end now. Like, there's nothing to see. There's nowhere there. And we're just like, oh, you will find it. You will, because we know you. We absolutely know you. Should we go? Do you want to go with the ammonia world first?
Sure. Should we take these one at a time?
Yeah, we'll go one after the other, shall we?
So on the 16th of this month, the Ammonia World Survey concluded. Aegis and Universal Cartographics announced that the project to survey ammonia worlds has ended satisfactorily. I don't know why I stretched that word out. Satisfactorily.
It's fine.
I think I nailed it. Special mention goes to Commander A. Radish, Commander Lone Wolfpack, and Commander T. Verez for their efforts. Well done, you lot. The exploration initiative was praised by Congressman Ton Gillespie, who oversees federal contributions to Aegis, and they said an impressive number of terrestrial planets with ammonia-based atmospheres were scanned and catalogued over the last 2 weeks. Universal Cartographics certainly considers the project to be a great success, and I know our xenological scientists do too.
And they were so impressed that
they paid out.
Flippin', yeah. ×3 multiplier on exploration data profits.
That's right.
Take it.
2 weeks of extra payout on that. So well done to everyone who contributed, and especially the aforementioned commanders. Well done.
Yes. It's always lovely to have actual mentions in there, isn't it?
I love when we get to do that.
It's great.
It's nice to celebrate your efforts.
Yeah.
So,
good job.
well done.
Then it starts to get a bit juicy. Aegis recommends preventative anti-xeno tactic, 16th of the 3rd. An analysis of the ongoing Thargoid War has been released by Aegis and made available to all superpower and independent navies. The focus of the report centres on protecting systems at threat of Thargoid invasion. It suggests that anti-xeno forces are primarily fighting Thargoid invasion fleets, which have already arrived. Understandable due to the immediate risk to civilian life. However, Aegis proposes that increasing defensive efforts for systems at threat of invasion would be a more efficient way of slowing the spread of Thargoid controlled territory. Yeah. So, and that was when the news on the Orthrus payouts were.
That's right. So those got a little bump up, didn't they?
Yeah. Yeah, that was during my conversation with Zarf. That was the ASI stream as well.
Yes.
It was all quite on the not the defensive side. It all turned. Not that I'm uncomfortable or anything.
Right.
About getting a bit more hot on the heels of our Thargoid friend.
I thought you were going to call them friends. You did.
But yeah, it all got a little bit heated there, didn't it?
I mean, understandably.
Things
are probably as tense as they've ever been between people and Goids at the minute.
Did you and Alf talk about where you stand on this sort of thing?
Where we stand on it? As in Thargoid sympathy?
Mm-hmm. Or wait, like, I am totally open to. I'm not.
You don't. You're sat on the fence, are you?
I'm like, I appreciate whatever your thoughts are. I'd like to hear them anyway.
I believe there was a time for
Has that time passed,
negotiation, a time for trying to understand more. And yes, I think the boat has sailed. Okay. I mean, it's full
like
on.
The Kingfisher.
Yeah, well, the Kingfisher was a big pivotal moment,
sail,
and that sent the message, I think, that was difficult to interpret any other way.
They were pretty upset by that.
Then it's go time.
Yeah,
no, I'm very much, like I say, I think maybe there was an opportunity at some point. Now it's go time.
Yeah.
That's where I'm at.
You got the jumper to.
Yeah,
got the jumper to prove it.
That's
You're
right.
ready, aren't
you?
you?
That's right.
No, that's good. No, I think it's really interesting. Yeah, just have the discussion. So I'm really enjoying them actually on social. Like everybody, there's some incredible, write-ups being done on Reddit, and everybody's kind of like very open-mindedly talking at the moment because of a little bit more discussion around pro-Xeno and you know, it's fine to, you know, have your thoughts and opinions. It's all
Absolutely.
good.
Where did Arthur fall on this?
Oh my gosh. There's only one way for him, and that was full steam ahead.
Okay.
All pips to
Full-on Starship
all
Troopers.
pips to, yeah.
Yeah.
Get to guns.
That does not surprise me a bit.
No.
In related news, rumours circulated, and this was published on the 20th, around Seo Jin A, and I always get their name wrong,
Yeah.
but hopefully you know who I mean.
Oh,
I'm talking
yeah,
about D2, of course. An anonymous source leaked information regarding D2 and suggested that she may be in serious jeopardy. The individual once known as Subject D2 voluntarily departed from a private medical facility in January, where she was under the care of former Aegis members. She left a message stating, "I have unfinished business with salvation." I would have asked Adam for a dun-dun-dun sound effect if we had one, but we'll have to make that happen.
You have to just do the honk. Honk. That'd work. Do you have that? No. Anyway, no pressure. Carry on, Bruce. Sorry.
Now, no. The engineer Kit Fowler discussed the recent rumours during his End Times broadcast, saying, "Something is definitely going on, people. The interstellar grapevine is buzzing with gossip about Seo Jin A, that cortical implant in her head, which provides some weird insight into Thargoid behaviour, makes her pretty much the most valuable person in the galaxy right now."
I like how Super Chicken's like, but salvation's dead, right?
Right. It's just
right.
the Anakin meme
Right.
talking to Padme.
Right.
He died, right?
Right.
He got blown up, right?
And then like obviously now I don't want to say too much because of commanders who might already still be on the trail or have discovered in game. There's a little bit of a plot line going on, audio logs and such. But yes, it's a really exciting time, and salvation is dead, right? Salvation.
Right.
Let's go on to 21st of the 3rd, 2023. Congress votes against Hudson contravention. I hate this word. Contravention. Little bit of politics. President Zachary Hudson's motion to allow him to serve a second term of office has been defeated by a congressional vote.
Denied.
Oh my gosh.
Shot down.
The proposal would have temporarily repealed the 77th Amendment of the Federal Accord, which sets a maximum presidential term of 8 years. A narrow majority voted not to accept his change to the Federation's constitution. President Hudson addressed... Well, I'm getting really excited. President Hudson addressed Congress following the announcement of the result. The Federation's demographic principles are paramount, and so I accept the decision of this chamber. The only hope that the disruption caused by a shift in leadership does not weaken our ability to withstand the current challenges. It is with total conviction that I say the Republican Party will achieve victory in the ongoing war and maintain security within our borders. I intend to support the next Republican candidate to the best of my ability. What a great guy.
Great guy. You're a fan, are you?
I was. I mean, I don't know. I don't know where I sit. I just float around and just pick people that are... I mean, this whole thing gets me proper excited because soil's turning.
Soil is turning, that's true. Changes are coming.
And do you know what? I'm quite excited by everybody. I think this has come as a shock to some commanders as well, because some of their responses to the to this article in particular was like, I'm actually quite... This has happened.
Sure.
And that was great. That got me riled.
Well, I suppose with someone like Hudson, obviously, he tried to extend the term limit to stay in power a little bit longer. And a lot of people may have expected the status quo to remain.
Yeah.
But it seems like, well, we know he's been unsuccessful, so...
Are you going to run for it?
We're entering a state of change. Would you vote for me, Sally?
Oh, what?
Well, that's a no. Okay, all right then.
What changes would you bring?
What changes would I bring?
I'm not just going to, yeah.
I'd make sure everyone's having a good time, to the best of my ability.
I mean...
Let the good times
fleet
roll.
carrier parties?
Yeah, if you want.
Free...
Everyone can have a fleet carrier.
Is it?
Yeah.
Can you imagine? Can you imagine
Just
trying to get
replace all the
into
ships
any
with fleet
system
carriers.
at all?
That's the worst idea ever.
Wow.
Okay, don't vote for me. Would you be president of the Federation, Sally? Or do you see yourself as more of an
No,
emperor?
I could do it. Oh,
The
yeah.
Empire.
Oh, got one of. Yeah.
Yeah?
Well, I'll just get rid of, like, Ashley. And... Don't get me started on that side of things, because I would. I could do better than her. Sorry if you're into Ashley. Just annoys me sometimes, that's all. So, should we...
Yeah, I won't get you started.
I don't drop things easily. It's between Ashley and Thingy, which I've forgotten his name, thank goodness, so let's carry on.
All right. Do you want me to take the next story?
Oh, yeah, if you like.
I'm sorry, unless you're going to add more. I didn't mean
No,
to
you
cut
can.
you off.
No, you can do it. Yeah,
I thought we were segueing.
Yeah, no, do it.
All right. So, on the 23rd, 2 days later, Thargoid cultists rescued Seojin A. They arrived safely in the Leuten's star system aboard an Order of the Thargoid megaship. A message was transmitted by the first apostle of the True Chapters, a proactive sect of the pacifistic religion from aboard the Testament. That's the megaship. The one known to non-believers as Subject D2 or Seojin A is sacred to us as the Preceptor, the first human to interpret the will of the Thargoid. We know her to be a holy emissary on a personal pilgrimage that exposed her to great danger. I was able to convince my brethren to locate the Preceptor and offer her safe harbour from the heretics.
Saved. I think she's saved.
Saved?
They're saved.
Well, how much do you trust the Thargoid cult, if at all?
Again, I'm an open book currently. I've changed my stance on a lot of things. I'm really just going, right, look, there's a lot going on right now. I thought I knew what was going on.
Mm-hmm.
I want to listen. I'm enjoying what everybody else is saying as well.
Okay,
so I'm not
you're
putting
taking
myself.
stock.
I am. I don't think I've ever
Okay.
been this stock focused.
Okay, this receptive to new,
Yeah, that's the one.
new ideas and angles. Yeah,
Yeah.
fair enough. I'm curious about the Thargoid cultists and their reaction. They've been... I know they cheesed off the Federation by being a bit celebratory about the Kingfisher, for instance, and I didn't particularly like that.
No. Cheesed off.
Cheesed
Tickled
off.
me a little bit.
And
Don't
I
chase.
also would like to know more about the True Chapters, who seem more off the wall than the average Thargoid cultist as well. So
Okay.
we'll have to see how this develops. I am very curiously interested and we'll be keeping an eye on this.
Yeah.
Let us know what you think.
Yes, please. I also like the name of the megaship. Testament. It's good.
It's very cool.
It's a good name.
Very
it's a real
cool.
powerful name. We have time before we have our guests on, so we can have a little look at some commander creations, creative commanders, now that we've done the news.
Sure. All right.
There's some very cool stuff out there at the moment.
Hold on.
Oh, what?
We got to exit the news mode.
Oh, we do,
still.
don't we? Sorry.
Thanks for watching this bit of the show. See you in a sec. Got to give Adam a chance to press the buttons, otherwise he'll
Sorry,
get
Adam.
upset with us.
Yeah, there we go. Good. Good. So, Commander highlights. Some of these are from last week because we naturally bring them into this week because I don't want to forget about them because they're great. This one is the Independent Explorers Association. Shout out to we have this really cool poster. There's been another poster since, actually.
I saw this.
This was the first one. I'll just do a little. A brand new adventure awaits with the Independent Explorers Association soon, named Izanami Land of Dreams. And to further announce the launch of the official account of the Independent Explorers Association over on Twitter, released this incredible promotional poster.
I mean, if that's not going to grab your attention and get you interested, I don't know what is.
amazing.
This is very, very cool. So well done to the folks at
Plain Richard.
the
Yeah.
IEA who are behind this.
Oh, it's a bit
Sorry?
of an in-joke. Blame Richard.
Blame Richard, okay.
Yeah, no, we'll get onto that in a bit actually, because I love it. Yeah, so, and there has been, actually I don't have it sadly, but there was another poster that came out this week, I believe, had like, I think it had like Commander's helmet, and they're just, I don't know how, you do amazing, it's incredible. I did a little quote here to quote the IEA. We're pleased to inform that we will be starting a new adventure soon. It starts the 26th to the 30th of April. So we've got a little while yet, but it is coming. And the Galactic Exploration Catalogue will also be supporting this exciting journey of discoveries. It's going to be good.
It's going to be great. Yeah, we would encourage everyone to check them out and get involved.
Yeah, and we have a link to the Discord. Do we have that? Nice. Here it is.
Boom. That's in the chat now. I don't know why I'm pointing up. Chat is in this direction for you, probably.
Good. So yeah, if you want to check out more on that, head over to the Discord. But it sounds really cool, and I absolutely love the content that's coming out already. The posters are amazing. And then brings us on to the Sidewinder Syndicate. We have a really cool video actually. Commander Gadnock, Explorer, Galactic Cataloger, Bounty Hunter and AX Combat Pilot shared a brand new Squadron promo showcase over on social last week for the Sidewinder Syndicate. Can we have a little watchies?
Good knock. Get down, whatever you are. Oh no! Oh no! Did I shoot you with the missile actually? You killed me! Following you.
We got like 30k, right?
Apparently. Let's try to go like 20 at most.
Yeah, let's go like 15.
Oh,
the atmosphere is disappearing, that's sick.
Yeah.
Loves it.
Well, that's great work by Commander
Yeah.
Gadnock and the folks over at the Sidewinder Syndicate. Thank you so much for sharing. How fun did that look, Sally?
Good. And that was from last week, but absolutely banked it. So I was like, we gotta. It's so much fun. I love that bit where it's like for the funny.
Yeah.
Whatever. To add a little quote in here, join an elite dangerous squadron today, Commander, for the funny Sidewinder Syndicate. Between discoveries, exploration, PvP and expeditions, as well as that Richard guy, it looks like a lot of fun with a great sense of camaraderie. To get involved and meet the group, the official Sidewinder Syndicate Discord can be found here. That's beautifully timed. Wow. So yeah, that another. Oh, I just love it. I love stuff like that.
Excellent. We have a couple more community pieces we'd like to share.
Yes.
What do we have up next?
This one featured in Discovery Scanner, and it's also been a big hit on Twitter. It is Golden Hour by Protocops, who was very... Unfortunately, we can't play the full video because it does have copyright music over it, but really wanted to show a little snippet now. We do have a link to the full video so that you can go and see it in all of its glory, golden glory, with the music. The music was absolutely beautiful. Choice.
Yeah, this is stunning. So really well done.
Gave me goosebumps actually, but it's just so well captured, so well choreographed, put together. Music, gorgeous.
It's just a very nice music video.
It's
super cool.
gorgeous. From Protocops, this video tells about the past of my commander and continues the storyline that began 3 years ago. Yeah, I believe the link has been put in there, so please go and watch the full video, maybe after this stream, so that we can keep you a bit longer. Not being like selfish or anything, but add that to your bookmarks if you haven't seen it. And yeah, you won't be disappointed.
I've seen a player in chat ask how they can submit videos for sharing on the show. We try to share as much as we can in terms of community content.
Yeah.
And if you have something you'd like us to share on your behalf, you can always get in touch. So we're active on Twitter and Facebook. So do check out the social accounts for Elite Dangerous. And if you tag us in any one of these, or even send us a message on Twitter, there's a great chance that we'll pick it up and chat with you to say, okay, hey, we'd like to share this and work out those details with you. But generally speaking, we just sort of keep an eye out, really.
Absolutely, always trawling.
And do a scan through and, yeah, make sure to pull the wonderful things you're working on.
It's addictive. The stuff that you do is just can't look away.
You never fail to impress us with the community content.
You are brilliant. Speaking of brilliant, it's very video heavy, this one, I hope you don't mind. But we have one more video from you wonderful ones, and we can't go without it, and I can't overlook the High Wake, and I know there's a lot of High Wake fans out there who are not going to mind if we play the latest from them. So this is High Grade Emissions.
so good.
I love
so
that.
funny.
Yeah, you just watch right here.
We don't condone yanking your fellow commanders out of their cockpits like that.
Yeah,
but,
minor violence warning.
but this was very funny. So yeah, well done to the folks over at High Wake. So good as always. Very funny.
Love it. Love it. Okay, good. I think that's I nearly said a stocking full. It's not Christmas.
A stocking full? It can be a stocking full if we like.
You know, Christmas all year round. But that was, yeah, some amazing grabs this week. Also, I think there have been quite a few commanders who've been engaged in charity streams and sort of incentives over the past week as well. So just a very light, I don't have any examples of those, but I know that they've taken place. Always lovely to see, like the fact that you're all still, you know, engaged in helping with different charities, and it always warms.
That is always lovely to see. And something I will say is, regardless of whether you're on the Elite Partner Program or not, if you're going to do a charity stream, drop us a message, let us know what you're doing, and it's very often the case that we will say, great, we'd love to support you and help you out, maybe with some codes or paint jobs to give away. We're always more than willing to help out with that sort of thing, so just ask.
Thank you, and thank you for just putting that effort in, because it means a lot to not only us, but obviously the people you're supporting. So.
All right.
Iconic part of the show, and then before we meet our iconic guests.
I feel like we need a Stellar Screenshot stinger as well, or is that just me?
Stellar Screenshots.
And then yeah, exactly, nailed it.
Tokuso, hit me up with some ideas.
Sally, what are Stellar Screenshots?
They're amazing screenshots, Bruce, that our community take as over on Twitter and Facebook, and yeah. Where's the other place?
The forums.
What? The forums! Oh my gosh!
There's a very beautiful and long thread of screenshots on the forums.
How could I
one
possibly?
Of the three places we look very closely at to gather these screenshots.
I am so sorry, because that is one of my absolute... Look at this. No, you have every right to tell me that that was a problem. That's one of my most favourite places. And over in the Elite
Dangerous
forums. You're basically the
face of the Elite forums, so... It's okay. We all have a little slip from time to time. I wouldn't worry about it. But yes, as you've rightly pointed out, Stellar Screenshots are beautiful screenshots that you take of the game and post on Twitter, Facebook, and the forums for us to look at, gawk at, and go, wow, that's incredible.
Oh, gawk. I haven't heard that.
Gawking.
That's great. I do have a gawk.
And
Regularly have a gawk.
a regular gawk at these screenshots. And when we're done with gawking, we pull out 10 of them and say, all right, somehow we've got to pick these as our favourites, and it's always a very tough competition. In fairness, it's Paul who typically does this.
Paul puts a lot of effort into this.
And then we celebrate them in a post on those channels and on these streams. And people who do get featured as Stellar Screenshots of the Week win one of 3 exclusive paint jobs.
Yes.
So shall we do that now?
Let's do it. Let's roll. Nice. So starting off with Arlo McDonald's. Doing a little bit of scanning.
This is a very strong start.
It is. So many neon colours.
I love, the lighting and the colours in this one is incredible. I love that they've got a silhouette of the commander going. Obviously the blue biological sort of neon thing going on is super nice, but also the sunset at the same time. So much going into this one. The contrast is beautiful.
Yeah.
Very well done.
The atmosphere. Night or day, Bruce? Morning or evening?
See, we always try and guess
I know,
is it a sunset or a sunrise? I don't think there's any way to actually tell. But
this one.
Is super cool?
These make me a little bit nervous.
Uncomfortable.
I'm uncomfortable. Anyway, it's a good shot. Is there a ship in this one, or am I just being silly? They're lights.
I can't tell from here whether
they?
it's a ship or an SRV headlights that have been switched on. But again, very clever use of lighting to, light up the scene there, creating a very cool effect.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. In a canyon there, maybe. Or
yeah, it looks like
pretty high ground around it. So beautiful. That one, Axon Idanu.
Commander Cabalus.
Can't go wrong.
Has sent us a very classic shot.
Can't go wrong with that. Favourite ship? That's it. Oh, it's nice, isn't it? I haven't got like, well, why is that ship there? No, it should be a chieftain.
It just
That's what
looks
I'm used to.
good. And they've made it interesting as well. Obviously, you're landed there in a starport. They've put a little bit of an angle on it, nice and dramatic. Very cool, classic,
say it.
classic shot.
Say it.
Well, the old Dutch angle
Hey,
coming
there
into
he
play
goes.
there.
Yeah.
Very stylish.
Yeah. Lovely.
Our fourth image comes from Marcus Sirrar, gazing longingly
So that nebula.
into space.
It is
Yeah.
a nebula, isn't it? I believe.
Yes, that's right. Super cool.
Little star there. It's beautiful.
The lighting game is just on point with all of
No,
these so far.
It really is. And that is, I don't know. It's just the way it's framed, really. It's lovely. What do you think he's thinking? I don't know. I'm sucked into it. You know, like if you're looking at it, I feel like I'm looking at it with them. Like I'm just,
I think
I don't know.
Marcus is thinking, look at all that out there,
Yeah.
and I can go there. You know,
Yeah, I can.
they're going to point out a star there, pick it, and just go
Yeah.
into the
Got a lot
into
to
the,
choose
the
from,
wondrous
haven't you, Bruce?
space. Yeah.
Got a fair bit to choose from. Good.
Who's our fifth Stellar Screenshot winner of the week? It's Commander Matt G.
Matt
Look at
G.
this.
Oh,
Look at the colours in this one.
lovely.
That's beautiful. What would you call that? A sort of an emerald? No, not quite emerald, is it?
Teal.
It's more of a teal. Yeah, I think you nailed it.
Teal.
Nice.
Teal. Well, it has got an emerald mix in there because there is quite a. There's a
Sure, it's
green
not just
there.
one hue, is
Oh,
it?
it's stunning.
Yeah, that's beautiful. We love a good old eclipse.
That's it. Some light play. It's lovely. And oh, hello, hello. That's a good one. This is more dear. Gorgeous. I mean, what more is there to say here?
Is this pick
Another
Paul's
bright
tribute to
one,
Sally
isn't
of
it?
the week?
I think he has to try and keep me happy somehow. I don't know. I think, do you know what? I think he senses it some weeks. He's like, do you know what? Let's pull out the big guns and.
Yeah.
But-
Not that it's any less deserved. This is beautifully done. I love the
I should hope
silhouetting. And I'm just saying, you know, it's pink, and obviously that appeals to some of our particular tastes, but there's so much about this image that is fantastic. The Mamba's a very cool ship.
Yeah.
That's one of my favourites. But yeah,
I
the
can imagine
angle,
you in a
the colours.
Mamba, like in real life.
I feel like Mambas are like the supercars of Elite for me.
Yeah.
Very stylish, very cool.
Yeah, we do have the Raceway. I believe that is even the name of them actually. Paint jobs.
Yes, we do.
And
That's
they're
right.
they're on the Eagle as well, they fit really, really well because I see Eagles as being quite,
Very nippy ships. That's
yeah,
true.
they look very racy, space race.
Space race. So well done, Commander Moida. This one's from Commander Neo 1664.
Nice perspective, nice angle.
Very cool. And it wouldn't be right to get through a whole list of stellar screenshots without a little bit of death and destruction featuring in the background.
That's Paul's
at least.
little flavour for himself, isn't he? He has to have that little bit, and we'll allow it.
Do we have a Thargoid Scout there in the background? You have to forgive me.
Do
It's
we?
a little bit further away, so I'm having trouble seeing, but I think that's what we're looking at here. So yeah, very, very cool.
Oi! So bright and cool. This one is Omen Tano.
Tano?
Love
Yeah,
it.
super cool.
Speeding past. Speeding fine on the way, maybe. Got to slow down. You're going.
Can't get issued a fine if they can't catch you, Sally.
That's true. They are pretty on it though, aren't they?
Yeah, no, they'll get
Straight
you.
to your
They'll
inbox.
get you.
Yeah.
It's true.
Don't take any chances.
I mean, in
there.
the future, they just ping it to you. It's not like real life where you can just drive away. Joking, don't do that.
How many have you done? What are you doing? What are you doing? How many unpaid fines do you have?
Too many.
Oh no.
Let's move swiftly on to Commander Powell, who's getting really up close and friendly.
Yikes.
Look at that.
Up close and friendly.
Maybe not friendly. Up close, at least.
I reckon
With,
they're having
with
a
a
conversation.
scout.
There's no guns going off here, are there? Maybe there are, I'm not sure.
Close enough to reach out and touch. Look at that. I don't know how they got this shot. I don't know how they manufactured or arranged
No,
this
I don't
little
even
scenario.
know whether to ask actually.
But,
Because that is it is a very unique place for it to be.
Yeah, I've never seen one so close on the ground like that. It's just very, very unusual.
Yeah. No, it's
But yeah,
great.
very cool.
Impressive. Not really sure how to pronounce this name, but we'll say R.
R to the power of L, I think. Sorry if that's wrong.
This
But-
is very like ethereal, isn't it? That's what I want to say. Very
Yeah,
mystical. Who is this person?
we've got album cover vibes to this one,
Yeah.
or maybe like a movie poster.
Yeah?
Super cool. I wonder what they're thinking in this moment.
Oh, I don't know. There's a lot going on, I think, emotionally.
Okay, this was a very dramatic shot.
They seem quite passive, quite pensive.
Pensive. It's a good word. It's a very good word.
Not in. I think they're relaxed though, calm.
At
Good
one,
vibes
at
from
one
this
with the
one.
galaxy.
Yeah.
In this moment.
Oh, nice. Bathing in it.
Excellent. That wraps things up for this week's Stellar Screenshots then. So congratulations once again
Yes.
to all of our 10 winners, and thank you for sending those in. We would
Yeah.
encourage you all to send in your screenshots of the game for us to enjoy and for your fellow commanders to enjoy.
And enjoy them in the forums.
That's right, especially in the forums.
Especially in the
Especially in
forums.
that thread
It's
in the
a
forums.
great thread in the forums that you want to go and put your screenshots in.
All
Right.
So we're a
Right.
little bit halfway over the show.
Yes.
It's probably time to get our guests on very shortly. Before then, if you're just tuning in, we're about an hour into episode 28 of Frameshift Live. Thank you so much for joining us. I am Bruce, one of the community managers at Frontier, and this is Sally, my co-host for today. This is the Elite Dangerous Fortnightly show where we share game news, community news, you name it. And these are our social channels where you can follow us to find out more information and get involved. All right, before we bring on our guests, we're going to have a very slick transition. So we hope you enjoy this little clip, and we'll see you in a moment to talk to our guests from the audio team. Welcome back, everyone. We hope you enjoyed that little something.
Summon. Now 2 of us, now 4 of us.
We are now 4 on the show. So I hope you'll join us in welcoming our 2 guests from the audio team. Jim, hello, welcome to the show.
Lovely to be here.
Absolute pleasure to have you, thank you. And Robin as well, who some of you may have
Who's
seen
this guy?
not too long ago.
Hello. Yeah, I think it's my 4th time.
Yes, welcome back to the show. A pleasure to have you. In fact, Jim, you have been on shows like this in the past. Maybe not Frameshift Live, but
Not as slick as this. I mean, it's
don't
evolved.
say that. Don't say that. You're too kind. Well, it's all for you're going to make producer Adam's head sort of expand. So
Can't
But
get
no.
any bigger.
it's an absolute pleasure to have you on. Thank you so much
Pleasure
both for
to be
being
here.
here.
Yeah.
Fantastic. So I don't know who to start with. Who should we start with?
Let's start with Jim.
All right.
Get the introductions.
Sure.
Jim, who are you? What do you do? How
Hi.
long have you been in?
I'm Jim, and I'm an alcoholic. That's not how it's meant to start, was it? I've been doing. Sorry, I got into this about 30 years ago. I've been doing audio for like 32 years. Game audio for about 25. I started off in TV music, ads and this kind of stuff, out in Hong Kong, and got into games when I came back. And yeah, it's been a hell of a ride, And I've been with Frontier for 10 years now. This is my 10-year anniversary year.
happy
I arrived just in
for-
February, actually, 10 years ago.
Wow, congratulations.
thank you.
That's a huge milestone.
Yeah.
So what's your, I hate to use the words job title, but for anyone who doesn't know your exact role as such.
Yeah, well, it used to be head of audio, but it's now director of audio, and that's purely because the team, as you know, the company's expanded quite a lot since I arrived. The audio team started off as 5 people or something, and now we're nearly 60. So, it's quite a lot bigger. So, we had to have a bit of a restructure, and I've now got 2 heads beneath me, a head of tech and a head of audio design.
Just to be clear, that's not 60 people on Elite. That is at Frontier.
Yeah, at
That's not-
Frontier, across all the games we make.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's quite a sizable team now. So
A bit different to how it was when you started.
yeah, absolutely. I'm much less in the trenches than I used to be, but still as much in the trenches as I can be.
Sure. So having been with the business for that length of time, you have a history with Elite, which we're going to dive into as well. And we'll talk a little bit about your contributions to the game, which we're very grateful for. If there's one thing we get consistent praise for from our audience, it's the audio from the game. So very much looking forward to that conversation.
I love how someone said, "What noise does Jim's doorbell make?" Ah, good.
The wife hates it, and the dogs drives the dogs crazy.
I just hope you don't have kids in your neighbourhood that like to.
Yeah.
Could you imagine?
Needs not much introduction.
Well-
But
Needs
we
no
want you
introduction.
to.
We'll ask for one anyway.
Yes.
Robin, welcome back to the show. For those of you, for our audience who haven't met you before, who are you? What's your role, and what do you do at Frontier?
Hi, so I'm Senior Audio Designer at Frontier, and I am the Lead Audio Designer of Elite currently, basically overseeing all of the audio for the current and upcoming updates, working on all the features that come through. Elite was the first project that I worked on when I got into the games industry after graduating from university, so back in 2017. And then I left for a little bit, and I've come back, rejoined the family, doing a second tour of duty on Elite. So
You
Fantastic.
missed us.
I did miss.
I was going to say it makes 2 of us, don't it?
Yes, I missed
We were-
everything. The project, the people.
They just throw you back in,
Yes.
Robin. It's great.
Brilliant.
Good.
One thing I want to say before we dive into a conversation with our 2 lovely guests is, if you have any questions in the chat for them, just let us know, just ask. And Sally, between us, while we're doing the chat, we'll keep an eye out and ask any questions that arise. But we'll start off with yourself then, Robin. We're going to talk about audio and audio design. What are the responsibilities? And I know this is a difficult question because it changes so much, but what does the day-to-day of an audio designer look like?
The day-to-day is really very different. Kind of depends at what point you are working on a feature. But if you were to go through a sort of typical arc, there's a lot of communication, there's a lot of planning and reading. Basically reading up on like a feature. What is it? What are we hoping to achieve? How does audio support that? What is the storytelling of it? There's a lot of collaboration with design. So, collaborate very heavily with the lead game designer, Luke, on the project, which is amazing. And art. And then after you've sort of gone, this is what we want to do, this is what we want to achieve, you go for a stage of working out how you do that, both creatively and technically. This is potentially how we make it sound, and this is how we'll do it. And then from that, it's a really kind of long process of iteration. So you might get through I'd say like 90% of it very quickly, and then the next 10% is weeks, maybe months of iteration and tweaking back and forth. And design wanted to be like this, we wanted to be like this is how we make it better. There's an awful lot of collaboration with everybody, and an awful lot of feedback as well.
Right, that's super interesting. So I understand from design that they use an iterative process. So you're actually working in parallel with that and constantly changing and adapting as the design grows as well.
Yeah, so we do that a lot. So this update, which we can't talk about super heavily, but has been a really perfect example of it, where with the lead game designer, we've been like, we really both want it to be like this. This is the story we want to tell. This is the intent. And we've basically sort of been leapfrogging each other in a really nice way, which I really love, which is just like, I have this idea, and then Luke will be like, oh, that's a great idea. I have this idea. And then before you know it, you're basically barreling down a hill, a creative hill. Yeah, so that's been really great, yeah.
That's great. So yes, you just mentioned update 15, and I appreciate a lot of this we've got to kind of keep mum because we want the excitement and the surprise to be there when players experience it for themselves. I'll ask you a little bit about it in that case. So I understand this was your first sort of big project for Elite that you've been working on, the sounds of Update 15. Is that right to say?
Didn't fully get the question, so say again.
So your contribution to the audio in Update 15, was this your first big project for Elite?
I'd say it's the most hands-on, yeah. There's various things to do, and also just the input that I've had over various topics has been kind of 100% me this time. It sort of started with 14, but this one is like, right, we're really into the midst of it. We're in the depths of Robin's creative juices and mind. Yeah, whatever that ends up looking like.
Great, okay.
Have you had your giggle moments?
Yeah, I did have a giggle moment.
Love the giggle moments.
Where I was working on something and I was really lost, where I was like, I don't know how to achieve the sound that I'm hearing in my head. And then all of a sudden I did, and I had the giggle moment, and I went, ooh, and then I had the little chills. And then I went, oh, nobody's going to let me do that. And then I ended up showing it to Matthew, who's the head of audio design. He was like, this is great. I was like, yes, we're going to do my weird creative juices.
Fantastic, fantastic. So that sound that we just heard in the little video we played before you came on, that was your concept, right? Am I right in saying?
Yes. So the maelstrom, the gas, and everything, all the sound effects. Yeah, those were things that I worked on for Update 14, and they've been in there since then. The new bit is the music that you would have heard. So we have composed new music for the upcoming update because we felt it warranted it, and the story that we wanted to tell and the feedback that we wanted to have. So all of the unfamiliarity that you would have heard in the music, that's all new and comes from stuff that I've been pushing for and wanting.
I like to think that is going to be exciting. Like, people are like, wait, new music? Like, just having new music alone to announce or tease, I know is going to excite a lot of people. And that just goes to show how much of a credit you guys are, that just having a new bit of, what's that? And people go wild.
And it's testament to the impact that music makes on the experience of the game as well. So you mentioned audio for the maelstroms that you worked on. And you mentioned the storytelling as well of the music. What were you trying to express? What did you want people to feel when they're in the vicinity of these new, scary entities?
I think one of the things that the music for Odyssey did, which is 100% how I sort of come at the musical aspect of it, is it's not so much matching what's happening and saying, you know, XYZ is happening, therefore XYZ is playing. It's more what is happening and how does the player feel about it. And there's a really great concept of that in the Odyssey music system, of moving around bases where there's a tangible sort of concept of, am I nervous, which is one of the most interesting ones to me. So that's a thing in the game that we wanted to communicate. So like, am I nervous? So what goes into saying, am I nervous? So it might be, have I just committed a crime? Have I been sneaking around? Are there enemies nearby that I don't know about? Have I just, been walking around sneakily for ages? And this sort of tension, and it's some emotional storytelling of the player. And for the future stuff, that's how I sort of approached it. It's more the emotional state and landscape of it. There's a little bit of narrative link to it, and also sort of reflecting some of the storytelling that we want to do. And we do that in various ways, like, timbre, and also just this sort of speed, but also just the clarity of it, whether it's really melodic or not. And so for this upcoming thing, we decided against making it really melodic. It's really about scale and sort of tension and dread.
Right.
And I think our composer did an absolutely amazing job with it. It's turned out like 100% better than what I would have imagined in a perfect scenario to me, which is amazing.
Oh, brilliant. Now that's really interesting to hear. Actually, Jim, I'll bring you in on this question because I'd be interested to get your take as well. It can't be easy to create audio and music for, well, it can't be easy, full stop. But I imagine it's very different to other mediums like film, TV, for example, where from start to finish, you know what's going to happen. Whereas in a video game, the player is in the driver's seat, in the pilot's seat, literally, so how do you make sure that the music or the audio cues or whatever it is, the sound effects, line up with the gameplay and the experience that players are having?
Yeah, that's a good question. That's where our job becomes really interesting because we've got the first half, which is, imagining what we actually want the thing to sound like, communicating that to the composer, and then secondly, how are we going to implement that? How are we going to make that work at runtime, and how are we going to make it change dynamically? What we tend to do is hook into as much data as we can that's coming from the game, convert that into audio, or triggers, or changes, or whatever, and music's a big part of that.
Right. Right.
So it's a deeper kind of, both sides of your brain get stimulated. Mm-hmm. You've got the creative side, but then you've got the technical problem solving side, and that's really satisfying. That's what makes this job really, really fun.
I've noticed quite a few people talking about planetary exploration, and I can agree with this as well. When you're not only planetary but also in space too, you seem to have it perfectly nailed when that music comes in.
Oh yeah.
When you're free roaming around on planet side and you almost do get to the point where you are feeling that anticipation of what you're finding, the excitement that you're finding. Some of it is upbeat, and you somehow manage to match it perfectly.
Well, it's not completely a coincidence. We have to look at what you're doing. There's a lot of data we look at, and it's about finding the space as well. Not much is going on. Everything's settled down. Perfect time to bring in a little emotional thread of something. Just to add, even if there isn't any danger or tension. Sometimes it's really nice it's evocative, isn't it?
Yeah, and then you set off that imagination.
Yeah, exactly. It plays to that.
Yeah,
but without being prescriptive. So we're not trying to tell you how to feel.
Yeah.
That's what we, the best of the times are the happy accidents where the scenario and the asset kind of work together in such a way. And this is the thing. It's cause and effect, but it's about having kind of fuzzy systems that don't. A doesn't necessarily always mean B is triggered. A can mean sometimes maybe D is triggered, sometimes C is triggered, sometimes a combination of the two, or sometimes nothing at all. This kind of thing.
That's great.
I suppose you have to keep it agile and so it feels natural and organic like that, rather than
that's the aim. That's the aim. Yeah. And it's harder in a game like Elite, where you can literally just do anything, and you can play the game for hours, for years.
That's right.
It's a challenge, but it's a really interesting challenge to rise to, I think.
We've got Guardian Sight fan there. The atmosphere the music creates at Guardian Sights, love it.
Oh yeah, the Guardian Sights in particular, for the atmosphere they create, get a lot of praise for the audio. So you'll have used a lot of those techniques and considerations when creating this new audio, Robin. Could you give us some insight into how you start that process? So you want to conceptualize the audio experience for this new content. Where do you start?
It's a really good question. I think for me personally, the way that you start can always be slightly different. Sometimes you come to it and it's like you instantly have an idea of what it can be. And sometimes it takes a little bit longer to find out what that idea is and how it sort of manifests. I think luckily for me, I already had like a sort of fairly good idea, like musically, of what I wanted it to sound like. I just knew that this will fit, and it will fit the other frequencies that are happening in that scenario and the busyness of it. And so there was this sort of core idea of sort of scraping, in very sort of in the ilk of like Weston and Thordson's music for like Split and Glass and Foxcatcher and stuff like that. It was just this style of music essentially, and then you essentially look at the feature and you kind of question, okay, how does the player interact with it? Like Jim's talking about, how do you interact with it, and what can you hook into? So for me, I ended up making a really nice sort of like mind map of like, okay, this is the feature, and what are we trying to communicate? What are the emotions of it, and the functionality of it? So what do we need it to do? And a lot of it was to do with support the sound design and make space, because everything's going to get hectic sort of thing. So there can't be just a really meticulously melodic piece of music, because it's going to get drowned, or it's going to fight for the attention. So how do we fit those things together? And then once you've sort of done that, one of the things that I like to do is I listen to film soundtracks all the time. Like, it was one of the things I listen to the most. And for me, it's kind of like just this sort of like tiny bit from here, tiny bit from here, tiny bit from here, and you throw it all into your creative pot, and in the end you've got what you want, essentially.
Right, so you'll draw inspiration and use these references as part of your considerations at the starting point.
Yeah, and then you sort of make a brief for a composer, and then that has their interpretation of it as well. So there's a lot of references, but also a lot of originality comes into it, because the way someone might interpret one emotion or piece of music is very different to how it comes out. It's a little, to me, it's always been like making a sausage. You put loads of stuff into the grinder,
right,
and then you turn it, and then at the end, something completely different comes out.
Do you remember the Generation game? They got Nicolini to make sausage. Sorry, just had this image of old aunts making sausages really badly.
Yeah, that's Robin in his audio room.
Except these musical sausages you're making are excellent.
Musical sausage.
Excellent
sausages.
musical sausages.
What a horrible
Robin's
phrase.
prime musical sausage.
Dear me.
I'm going to open a shop if I ever move out of game audio.
We're definitely going to mention that
Robin's
again on
musical
another stream.
sausages.
Yeah.
To painfully drag this sausage analogy as far as I can.
Let's go all the way.
It's a series of sausages.
I'm going to double down on it.
Joined
Much like a
dog.
string of sausages. At the beginning, I imagine
we only had the single sausage.
Right, you had an idea in mind for the signature sound you wanted Elite to have, and being a non-musically inclined person, I might struggle to articulate what the sound of Elite is. But were you deliberately laying down themes and motifs that you wanted to become seeds that blossom into the flavour of Elite's music?
I think we had some quite strong pillars to begin with, and I knew that the game was huge. It was going to be. I didn't know it was going to be popular, but I knew that the space that we were going to be moving around in was going to be very large. I didn't want music to be right in your face for that experience. It's not a first-person shooter. Well, it became a little bit more like that later, but it's not that kind of game. And I wanted music to come and go and feel like it had breathing space, and I didn't want people to get fatigued with it. So it's a good question, because I think with most games, when I sit down and I kind of do the audio direction side of it, I make mood boards, and I make Spotify lists and all that kind of thing, and I give them to the composer, and I explain to them exactly what it is about that element in that song or that track or that piece from a film that I want to kind of bring to the soundtrack they're making.
Yeah.
So it's like a mood board. It's like the kind of visual mood board, but it's a sonic thing.
Yeah.
Now, I didn't do so much of that with Erasmus. What I did was I did a live pitch kind of thing where we had about 5 composers all pitching, and they did the work of sounding out a video and composing for a set scene, and I got him to do that. And there was so much originality in it, and there were so many interesting textures that I really loved. And there was a kind of hybrid between, we knew we wanted a kind of orchestral flavour, but we also knew we wanted quite a unique synthetic sound as well, but we didn't want to go down the kind of dance music tropes, the electronic music stuff. because David wouldn't let me at the time.
A bit less funky keyboard.
David was very much about John Williams, so we needed to bring a bit of that
Sure.
influence in. But I'd finished playing Skyrim, and I was massively affected by that, and how the beautiful music just kind of swept in and then swept off again, and I just loved it.
Sure.
And I wanted to bring a similar kind of vibe to it. So it was a little bit of, once I'd chosen Erasmus, it was a little bit of trial and error and kind of finding the sound, and we honed in to it, and 2 or 3, 4 tracks in, we'd got a kind of palette. And I also kind of, for the factions, I wrote out a load of key words for each faction, and he kind of tried to make them sound different, alliance
Sure.
and
Do you remember what they were?
So that goes into their identity.
that goes into the identity. Well, I knew that the alliance. David always talked about the alliance being akin to the Eurozone, almost. A European vibe. So I wanted to bring choirs in. I wanted a light kind of touch to it. Make it feel airy. Then there's the Empire. I wanted to bring in a kind of Byzantine Oriental flavour to it because it felt exotic to me, and I wanted that kind of vibe. And then remind me, who else have we got?
So Fed Alliance.
The Fed,
And
very much an American-driven kind of what NASA would become kind of thing. So the French horns and a more militaristic vibe.
sure.
And then, of course, there was anarchy, and we wanted to describe that in kind of exotic flavours, should we say.
Okay, sure.
So, yeah. So we had those kind of, those ideas, and we kind of head off in different directions with each one. And hopefully we made them feel a little bit unique.
Sure, you definitely did.
Good.
You nailed it
Good.
from day one.
But we didn't want to fill it with melodies, we didn't want to fill it with beats, because that gets really fatiguing after the 100th time you've heard it.
Right.
And we knew that you'd be hearing these a lot. No matter how much content you put in, you're going to hear them a lot because people play this game a lot.
So they've got to be easy to listen
So
to.
they've got to be easy to listen to, and they've got to be able to exist in the background as well as
Right.
in the foreground,
Yeah.
You made some really interesting points there. The first one is, and I know I said I couldn't articulate it before, but by describing it, I would describe, you've allowed me to, I would say the vastness of space is one of the themes that comes across in the music very much.
Yeah.
That's a feeling you've communicated incredibly well. And the other thing you said about attention to the music, that's very interesting. So, as you just said, the music has to be easy to listen to and not always at the forefront of the player's attention, possibly because they're trying to perform some complex game action or whatever the case may be. Are there times where you will fluctuate the intensity or the attention that you want to draw to the music?
Yeah, I mean, there's
why might
music's-
you want to do that and when?
Music's very good at describing points of change, and so that's what we want to use it to underpin. So things like, I've arrived in a system, this is the flavour of the system. Things like, in combat, obviously, music suddenly becomes more present and tries to describe what's going on in the combat. Areas like that, we weren't averse to doing that kind of work, but mostly we try and make a light touch. I think it was just I suppose it's my style. I'd rather less is more, kind of approach, and not just pile loads of music in there, because we've got great sound design. I want to give the space to the sound design as well. It's the whole experience. I think what I really want people to do is not talk about the music, just enjoy the experience. If
Right.
they've enjoyed the experience and the music's worked, it's done its job. They're immersed. They feel emotionally part of the space.
Right. Have you brought that forward with you, Robin, into update 15 and the music you've made for that? I suppose it might be a bit different because this time the theme is the Thargoids and war and action. How do you get those kinds of emotions across while remaining immersive?
Well, one of the great things that Jim sort of talked about is the musical identity that the game now has. And so one of the really nice things is that even when we're thinking about new stuff and like, what is this new music? How does that work? What we can do is we also sort of push it through the feeling of the old music, like what is the style of it? So you go, this is the new thing, but we have an established sound which is, elite in general, but then also like the Thargoid music has a very specific sort of musical approach, and you push those things together and it sort of keeps it cohesive. And the sense of repetition and long-term being able to hear it, I think is one of the most important things, and one of the reasons why we decided we wanted to go with new music was just to give it a longer lifespan, give it some more variety, and the reduction of melodies and stuff like that really lent itself to that, because you won't be like, that's that musical phrase that I've heard 500 times because I've been playing this game every day. And the reference for Skyrim is a perfect one of just creating the fabric of the things around you. They come and go without you realizing. So this is an older topic, but the Super Cruise music is a really great one, because what I love is that when you first arrive in a system, that it's basically not there. You can't really hear it unless you get the music for representing the faction that you're in. But as you speed up and your ship sort of moves faster through the galaxy, the music ramps up. But not only does it ramp up, it also gets sort of pushed further into the reverbs of the music. So the sense of scale just gets massively reinforced, and it sort of really well reflects the scale of where you are, what you're doing. And we did approach that again in 14, didn't we? Where you made some really great new music for the Thargoid system states, which I know we got some love on YouTube for, which I wanted to bring up, because it was tremendous music and really reflected. Again, it wasn't telling you this is how you feel about it. It's more of a question. It's like, how do you feel about this, or how could you feel about this, and the sort of the scale, the danger, but the intrigue, all these sorts of things. I don't think I answered your original question, but
the answer was so good that I forgot the question anyway, so thank you very much. That's a really interesting point, and I love the example you gave that was really salient of reverb increasing as Super Cruise speed increases. Yeah. That's a really cool example of the gameplay being very married to the sound, and vice versa.
I do have another example actually, which is one that I always love, which is with the scouts. And in Wise, there's these things called RTPCs, which essentially reflect a number. And a great example with the scouts is how many are there around you. So the more there are, the more a certain layer of the music gets ramped up. But we also have the concept of how far away is the closest one. And one of the previous designers did this. I think it works really well because it's so subtle, because how it moves in and out. But if a scout flies right up to you and just floats in your face, it literally brings up a certain element, and it's loads of tremolo strings, and it's got this really nice sense of dread and anxiety. But you don't notice it because it's come with it and the sound design of it and all the other things going on. And then it goes away, and you get this sense of relief, and it perfectly matches the moment, sort of thing. That's one of my favorites. I think that works really, really well. And also some of the other moments where you mark certain discoveries, like when you first see the Guardian ruins, when you're in space and you drop down and you just get this sort of building melody, which moves in patterns of threes, and you just go, oh, I've just found something. And it's very exotic and unknown, but in a really unique way that doesn't sound like anything else in the game or the universe currently. I love that as well. That's one of my favorite bits of music from the entire game, of just all that when you approach, when you drive around, when you enter into combat. It's all seamless, and it again is there one of the sentinels coming out of the ground and all these sorts of things.
I was going to share a little thing. Well, I remember just one situation for me where I was jumping between systems, and I'd set my course a bit dodgy. There weren't many fuel stars around. I was running out. I was going to make it, but it was deadly quiet though, and the tension for me at that point, the sound was me. Like, that wasn't totally. But I don't know how I managed it, and whether this is planned, I don't know. But when I finally got into that system with the fuel star and barely any fuel, I had that sound come at me, and that was me exhaling at that point. And it.
You were home.
Honestly, like, I got goosebumps thinking about it. It was it was a
see you've
real,
got the actual
yeah. I
goosebumps.
literally
You're not
looked,
kidding.
and I just remember that relief of dropping in, and it's like you knew when to play it.
Well, I think it's about creating systems that allow for those happy accidents. That when your emotions are aligned, you're more sensitive to it. That could have happened other times, but you won't have tuned into it.
Yeah, but I wasn't in that zone, was I?
So it's playing to the human brain almost.
Yeah.
It's just,
inside my head.
That's amazing. The game has a real capacity for those organic moments that just feel so good. And the fact that the music is, I think I've used this word already, but agile or adaptable, versatile enough to support those moments is a really beautiful thing. And we talked a bit about Guardian Sights and the Thargoid music associated with the Thargoids, and how you might want to invoke feelings of unease, little bit of twinge of fear, maybe the unknown, that sort of thing, and then contrasting that with being home, being welcomed, being relieved as well. Two very different ends of the spectrum. Can you tell us about arriving at, and we've actually got a clip, we can listen to this. Maybe we should play it even, if we can do that, Adam, in the background while we talk, about the sounds and ambience that you wanted to associate with starports, stations, places that the player is safe and familiar with.
Yep.
We can see. We can
let's
see.
all just stare
wait,
intently at
do you know
Adam
what?
as he
I
plays
just
the
realised
track.
that he's shaking.
Oh, he's trying to. Which one? It will be called Frameshift and Starports, I think, something along those lines.
Oh, that's the disc. Yeah.
So this is one of 3 tracks we pulled from the CD that the original soundtrack that you worked on.
Yeah.
And while it plays, yeah. So could you tell us about the kinds of feelings and instruments and techniques you pulled on to create this welcoming atmosphere and music that stations and starports and that sort of thing have?
Give me a clue. What's the track called?
What's the track called is a fantastic question. I apologise. This is very unprofessional and unhelpful of me. I will find it for you while we all enjoy the sound.
Oh, it's
So
iconic.
I pulled track 1 from each of the CDs. So this one is
this is Super Cruise. This is one of the Super Cruise tracks.
This is Frameshift Suite first movement. Yes.
This is all about what we wanted to do was try and create. I wrote about this in the sleeve notes in the original release. We wanted to we looked at kind of jazz approaches actually, because we wanted to break up the timing so that there was some interesting time signatures in this. So your brain finds it hard to kind of hook on to where the beginning is, and it just gives you this kind of nebulous kind of vibe. And it feels like you're kind of journeying into something. I mean, it certainly does for me.
Oh yeah.
For me.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
That's so funny.
And it's almost hard to grasp you couldn't really sum it up, you couldn't hum it, definitely not.
Right.
But I love that about it. It's it's almost,
I don't know. I've done a few do 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 That's when I'm going around.
You can improv on top of this.
but it is like an improv. It's
Right.
more like an
Yeah.
improv than, it's electronic with a little bit of orchestral, but really it's like a sort of improv going on. It's a dance. And it really reflects, for me, it reflects that kind of passing through the wonder of space.
Yeah, definitely. And there's a curious note to it because you don't know what's coming next.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
right.
I feel that for sure. And that's such a
It's
nice
the voyage.
parallel
It's
for
a
what you're
voyage,
doing.
isn't it? It's
in
an
the game,
adventure.
literally. Yeah.
I've heard this music on a daily basis for years at this point. I'm still not bored of this. I remember hearing it at one point when I was living in Germany, and it still hit as hard as it does the first time. I think one of the reasons why this one works so well for me personally is it has quite a self-reflective quality to it of like, who am I in what's happening around
What's
me?
my place in this huge...
That's one of my favourite things tonally about Elite. I think part of that's to do with the sense of scale, but also how beautiful it is, like the planets, the vistas, and all the lighting effects and everything like that. But it's the sense of me in the vastness of it, an ocean of stars sort of thing. I absolutely love that. Love that feeling.
It's such a
Yeah.
sense of peace, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's very contemplative, I guess.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
encouraging you to think and just take stock of where you are and what you're doing. Yeah. Love that. I just want to enjoy it for a moment.
It's reflective.
Yeah.
That's a really good way of describing it. It's reflective music.
This is why I'm late to every meeting. I just sit there, zone out, and Teams is I'm like, oh yeah.
Yeah.
We need to change the Teams ringtone.
Not to this.
That one? Yeah.
This will make me like, oh no.
No, I don't want to go to me. I just want to stay here.
Existential crisis.
I don't think you would mistake this for anything else. It's elite dangerous.
Yeah, it's very recognizable.
So I'm happy with that. I'm happy with that it's recognizable. The core of it is.
Oh, yeah.
It's got its own sound. It may not be in your face, but it's because often I've been criticised for not creating a big elite theme, that big bombastic thing that happens in the front end or whatever. Or that's the only place I could put it, right? I mean, where would you put a big bombastic theme?
Yeah,
And how would that work in a game like a sandbox game like this?
Sure.
So, yeah, it's kind of it likes to underplay itself.
Thanks to your wonderful segue, we can actually roll the next track and take a look at the theme we did land on. So we can look at Blaze Your Own Trail, the first track, I think, from the first CD of the OST,
That tagline.
and see what people make of it.
Okay. Oh yes, this is the front end theme.
Yes.
Gets me ready.
This
To
one's
blaze
cool.
my
This one's
trail.
cool. Yeah.
There is a bit of bombast.
It's definitely
There's
got
a
a
little
bit. It's
bit.
got a bit of
A little
flavour.
bit of pop.
Yeah, definitely.
But it's not massive.
But no, you're right.
I mean, this is actually a. Oh no, is it a rework? No, it isn't a rework. This is the original. Yeah.
What does this make you think of, Sally?
Getting going.
Getting ready.
Get flipping out there.
You putting your spacesuit on?
I'm putting it on.
That's exactly what I was thinking. I had images of people basically putting on spacesuits and walking to something on a big pad. About to blast.
You arrive in the hangar, you're climbing the ships into climbing the stairs into your cockpit, you sit down.
Yeah, there's quite a majesty to this piece of music.
I'm hearing, obviously, we've got some vocal in there as well.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's cool. That's very
Yes.
cool. Definitely gives it makes it a lot more tangible. I don't know if that's the right word. I'm very bad at talking about this kind of thing. But there's the drama and the majesty, I think was a good word for it, really comes across with vocals. How do you feel about working with voices as an instrument?
Oh, love it. Love it. If the track requires it, then I'm always the same with acoustic instruments. Any real instruments, I'm always, if we have the opportunity to bring them in, we have the budget. Much rather work with real people than MIDI.
Sure.
So often we'll do MIDI stuff beneath, and then we'll layer on some real stuff over the top. It's all smoke and mirrors.
That's great. I had one more I wanted us to listen to, named Lonely Pulsar.
Lonely Pulsar. It's a neutral piece. Yes.
Neutral.
Yeah. So this occurs when there's pretty much nothing going on. So the game looks at that and goes, well, okay, this is a good time to play something. You're just floating around, doing very little. You're not really moving your ship around.
You're not in combat. You're not. Yeah.
You maybe just looking at stars, and it will choose one of these dependent on where you are in space. And if you're in a neutral space that isn't owned by anybody, it will play the neutral. There's a whole pack of kind of neutral pieces.
So this is one for the explorers.
So yeah, it'll play everywhere, but it won't. If you're near a space station, it's unlikely to play because there's too much busyness. There's too much traffic going on.
Sure.
So it won't play then. But,
it's very intimate though, like the sort of is that steel pan drums or
yeah,
sort
I
of
think it is.
glockenspiel
Yeah, in this
sounding.
case, yeah.
It's got a very intimate feeling to it, which is what I love. Again, talking about the reflective feel of it. It is kind of about you and what you're doing in relation to it. It's not like
It's the juxtaposition between the two things. This huge thing, and then this really small person.
Yeah.
And it's all about the person. Actually, it's all about what it was for the first few years of the game was you know, your ship was you, basically.
Yes, that's
for
right.
sure.
You were the ship.
Gives me paranoia vibes, that one. I get a bit.
Oh, really? What sort of?
Not, yeah, I'm like, there's, you know, I feel
I'm too small.
Yeah.
It's quite
When-
a lonely piece as well. I think.
Yeah.
It has a
Like
lonely element.
it's not scary. It's just like, oh my gosh, I am vulnerable. But rightly so, because I'm in a giant galaxy.
I think that's what I liked about Erasmus is that, you know, all the pieces they're really thoughtful,
Yeah.
and they've got a lightness of touch. It's not just, you know, we'll slam this emotion at you. It's really nicely threaded together.
Gives you room to think.
Gives
in
you
it,
room to think,
doesn't it?
yeah.
It's not overwhelming your. Like you said, I like what you said. It lets you think. It gives you the. Doesn't give you too much, but enough to.
Well, yeah, you're not a hero in this game.
No.
And that's what it's about, blazing your own trail.
Blaze your own
You know,
trail.
you're one person trying to get through, make your way
Yeah.
in the galaxy, and I think that's a really key pillar to this.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
100%, and it does come across. You mentioned Erasmus, the composer that you worked with
Erasmus
on,
Talbot, yeah.
on the original soundtrack, and it's an incredible soundtrack. How did that process work? So maybe, what was the starting point for that? How did you go about this? Okay, we've got this game to make music for.
Yeah.
What is step one?
Yeah.
How do you decide, for example, okay, we need this many tracks which evoke this kind of feeling or are used in this area or for this purpose, and we need this many for that?
Yeah, I think the first thing I did was look at, okay, where can music go? So we looked at, right, we've got space stations, and we've got this notion of arriving at a space station. We've got, so actually Super Cruise came later, Frameshift came a little bit later, but initially it was just about, I think you were in just one system, and it was, the most obvious place to start was in the space station. So I thought that was where we started, I think, on the factional element. So let's break this into 4 factions, plus another kind of neutral one, and let's see how, you know. Let's just start. That's the, you know, it's the first step on any journey.
Sure.
You know, and you've just got to start diving into it. I think we started with the Federation, try and get a sense of finding the right sound for the Federation, and then we know what the Federation is. Let's try the Alliance. Let's see if we can differentiate.
Sure.
By using these different instruments, you know, and then I think we went on to exploring these threads, these kind of factional threads that will play when you're in that space, because I really wanted that as a concept because of my experience with Skyrim.
Sure.
You know, I wanted to capture something of that, and that was the next step, and it just kind of, you know, some new part had been added to the game, so okay, well, let's have a think about that. You know, I really wanted to mark the arriving in a place with something. I thought Super Cruise, when Super Cruise Frameshift came into being, it was clear that, well, actually, you don't get to do very much, so this is a good place to play music. And I think it was only when we created all the Frameshift pieces, that was when I really felt like that was the spine of the score, and everything else kind of branches off from that in a way.
Sure.
But we spent a long time, and then we started to dive into combat. Started very simply with combat, and it has different, you know, obviously you go into different states. You know, there's a threat, and then there's, you know, when an enemy opens fire on you, etc. You know, and then we had to work out ways of coming out of combat and all that kind of stuff, make it all smooth. David was very keen on pulling in that John Williams direction, which, to make the music interactive, is a very, very difficult thing to do.
Sure.
With that kind of music, usually it's going to be like a CQC style kind of pulse-led system will lend itself better to interactive than something with, you know, quite complicated motifs all the way through it.
Sure.
So that took a long time to really try and get down. Yeah.
Well, I think you achieved that masterfully. We talked already about the adaptability of the music and it being suited to the purpose and matching gameplay. Actually, I've seen a comment there. Is this accurate? Sophie Saint says the secret is in transitions. So
Yeah,
I suppose you have to think very carefully about how to move from one feeling to another without it being jarring or too sudden.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
how do you handle that?
Well, that can be very, very tricky, particularly if you're coming out of a very complex piece of music. I think you have to take your time. You have to find your place. So what we do is we often mark up tracks and give them exit points. So it will find the next exit point where it could go, and then it'll leap off and play usually a transition that is written to accommodate that particular key.
Sure.
And that particular tempo. It gets very complicated.
I see. So you've got almost custom-built bridges or transitions between the different places you want to be, as well as these jump-off points, so that it's never too abrupt, I guess, is what you're trying to avoid.
Yeah.
You don't want it you don't want to be noticed.
No, that's
suppose.
exactly it. You don't. Well, you want it to be noticed, but
Sure.
You want the player to acknowledge it emotionally, almost in their sort of subconscious. But you don't want it to be absolutely telegraphed, because that's when you get this kind of Mickey Mousing thing, and it just feels ugly, So it's all about subtlety. It's always about subtlety and just kind of, making sure you pull the strings at the right times and allow the music to I always say this: allow the music to breathe and give the music. If you're playing a piece of music, then let it finish wherever it was going, and then leap off. Don't just go.
Right.
I hate that in games. I feel like it's really lazy implementation, and it's ugly, and it draws your attention. You just think, oh, that's a bit crap.
Sure. Amazing. I realise we're very rapidly running out of time, and I don't want to say goodbye to our guests because you've been so fantastic to talk to.
This is really why you see, I don't know, I get quite emotional about it because it does. You're so well loved. I know we remind you every time you're on stream.
Oh yeah, you do.
But Jim, you need to hear it from us for directly as well.
It was all a labour of love. This game absolutely put me on the map as well. I mean, it was just I love the way it sounds.
Oh, you should.
But a lot of the credit's got to go to Joe Hogan as well, who was an absolute legend.
Yes.
And really set us up. And now Robin has come in and taken over those hard to fill shoes, and he's doing an absolutely brilliant job. And when he was talking about this creativity and putting himself into it, and that's exactly what we want because I'm his facilitator, if you like. So that's what we want creators to do: create really cool stuff, run with it.
Honestly, it goes without saying though that you only have to look at what the commanders say, and it's just all about you guys. You are much loved. We feel extremely lucky to have you, to know you. So I'm going to gush a little bit more, but yeah.
Thank you.
If nothing else has come across, it's the passion and care for what you do. And to see that handed down to Robin as well, so I'm making it sound like you're handing the torch. You're still here, you're still very much involved. But no, you have left your mark and you've got a legacy in the audio. And Robin, you're doing a fantastic job of renewing those principles and bringing them into the new audio as well. So thank you so much from the community and for us for doing that.
Thank you.
Thank you. I feel like I need to say thank you to all the great people that I work with, like all the designers like Luke and Curtis, Darren, Simon, as artists, all these people, Chris.
The whole team, amazing.
I think it gets to sound as good as it does because of how collaborative it is. I said it on the one that we did with Matthew, that I think the game allows for great sound design because of a lot of the mechanics as well, which is why I absolutely love working on it, is because it's such it's that leapfrogging thing. Creative people leapfrogging each other's ideas and enabling each other creatively and stuff like that. That's what I love about it. I think it sounds great because we get to collaborate and build together. It's great.
That's wonderfully put. Fantastic. Thank you
you
very much. We're going to wrap up the show, so we're going to say goodbye to our guests for the time being. Thank you so much again for joining us.
Have to come back anytime, guys.
Yeah, do I get another hat next time?
We didn't mention these.
Speaking of these,
They're not getting this back.
we have seen a lot of people saying elite hats when. These are not I don't want to make you feel any less important. These are not exclusive to Jim and Robin's head.
Well, this one is.
These are, we can't get them off.
These specific ones, maybe.
But yeah, you'll find them in the merch store, along with these and the other ones that I threw over into the corner, very lovingly threw.
At me.
Yeah, Bruce's jumper, for example. So yeah, do check out the merch store. I'm not sure we have a link to that, but
Bye, dads.
yeah. They don't. Yeah. Are you good to sit with us while we wrap up? Because we do have one actually really big thing that I almost forgot about that Arthur has been plugging for 2 weeks.
One last big thing.
I can't believe that we almost did. Do you remember, Commanders, that Arthur said we had a very big, important, very cool, really amazing thing that we wanted to give away? We're going to do it.
We're going to do it.
And it's live now. And Adam, just show them what it is. It's a PC.
Oh, wow.
It's a very Swish Odyssey branded custom PC.
It is a custom, elite, dangerous. I feel like, can we have a sound
amazing.
for this? I should have asked you for a sound.
Looks imperial.
It is.
Oh, you don't need to be imperial to win this
Well, let's
PC.
not get political. Let's not get political.
Yeah, I
So-
don't know. Were you expecting that? Are you surprised? It's a big prize.
So yeah, big shout out to Overclockers for helping us put this together. It's a one-of-a-kind PC, and I don't have the stats here, but Sally's going to tell us what this machine is packing. It's a
Is she?
beast, an
No, she
absolute
is.
beast.
What I can actually do for you is that also this. Can I come back, Adam? Bring me back. I've got a lot to say. Hello. Yes, the competition is live now. All of the spec, the entire spec, is in the giveaway, which is linked in the chat. But I'll run through a few of the swanky. Let's see if that works. I hope that works for everybody.
It's in the chat.
It's in the chat. But yeah, as you can see, it has custom printing on it. It is a very fancy case. It comes with, oh my gosh, because I'm used to reading out these kind of things. Where's the really important one, Bruce, that I want to
So
actually read about? Where's the
This
fancy one?
No, that's probably the. I mean, it's all
Intel
important.
Core
but-
i9.
Yeah.
We got that one. Where's the? There it is. The GeForce RTX 4090.
4090. Yeah, that's.
And that, so
a big one.
basically, you need a garage to fit this in. It's absolutely enormous. So we'll let them behind the scenes on this one, but we were thinking, do you know what? We'll set it up on one of the tables. It'll be fine. We'll just pop it
We
here.
wanted to show you it,
We'll just pop it here.
and it was just too big.
It's bigger, like
Too
I
big.
could live in it.
Is it really heavy as well?
Yeah,
Yeah, it's a hell of a machine.
it is
Oh, yeah.
massive. But it comes. I like the end bullet point is full cable management, guys. Spared no expense. So yeah, here it is.
How can
No
people
cables featured here. But
get
there are
involved?
cables.
So how do I win this PC? Not me
You
personally, because I
can-
suspect I'm not allowed, which is very sad.
Yeah, just
But the royal we.
Goose burrito, Bruce Garrido. Yeah, there's a plethora of ways to enter. If you head along to the Gleam competition link, you get entries for following us on social channels, for example, Instagram, YouTube, Twitch, Facebook. I know many of you already do, but you can, if you just click through the buttons on the page, then that will add you into. Yeah, you can have up to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 entries. It's going to be lasting quite a while. We're going to draw the winner in a month's time. So to give as many people the opportunity to enter.
Sure, and we'll share these details again for anyone who's not watching the stream. Obviously, all of you are, but in case you're not watching, we'll be reposting these details on Twitter,
Yes,
Facebook,
I believe
etc.
that's live now. I'm going to actually do a bit of
Fantastic.
that, right? Have a little check. I will say we are live on Twitter now with this link, which there's the Elite Dangerous logo popping up in my face. There it is.
Cool. So the competition is live on social, and we'll be sharing this over the month. And yeah, good
Well,
luck to
that's
everyone
good
who
luck.
enters.
Thank you again to Overclockers.
Brilliant.
You're not Overclockers. I don't know why I looked at you.
Yeah.
Thank you to our two overclockers. No. Thank you to our fantastic audio team.
Yeah.
And all overclockers for making the PC.
Yeah.
All right. I think that just about
That does finish us. Yeah.
wraps up our
Yeah,
final
yeah,
order
yeah,
of
yeah.
business. So thank you so much for joining us for this show. Thank you to our special guests. It's been a delight and a pleasure to speak with you.
Anytime.
Yeah.
You're very welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you, producer Adam, for running the show as smoothly and professionally as you always do. Thank you to our moderators for monitoring the chat for us and helping out. And thank you so much for watching. Do stay tuned for more Elite Dangerous content. We're going to host one of our wonderful creators after this, but let's just take one quick last look at that trailer for Update 15 beforehand. We'll see you next time. 07.
07.